Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and fight fans around the world. It's your boy P. Welsh here, doing another UFC previews, predictions, and picks. This week we have UFC 301 Pantoja versus Erceg. First, we're gonna do a little recap of last week, 7-6. Not the best week. Probably went out on a limb a couple times. Mahashete, nice split decision. Petrovic, really easy. I'm gonna count the loss to Padilla, even though I really didn't look at this one too much. I should have taken it more seriously, but I did put it out there. I'm going to take the loss. Suso with the win, easy. Machado lost to Mays. He looked a lot. The significant strikes in the heavyweights versus the wrestlers have been the difference lately. Hubbard, big win over Figlak, didn't look the best. Henry over Yara was easy one. Medic, I went out on a limb, went bad. After I did my video, I saw Means is like, I don't know how much longer I'll be fighting. I was like, great. I can't go back on my pick now, but Medic night win, lost on Pierce. Oyama won there. Denny's beating Lane. So if you see something like that after my videos, comment and, just take that in consideration when, like, I go one way and you see something completely different. Don't be afraid to do something different. Dinzy destroyed Lane. Silva beat Da Silva, a.k.a. Lipsky. Called Guskov. Big money right there. And lost Perez over Nicolau. So 7-6. A couple upsets. Nothing too crazy. But we're going into UFC 301 here from Brazil. Let's get it on, chat. There's a lot of fights to break down. Start with Alessandro Costa versus Kevin Borjas in the flyweight division. We have 13-4 coming and versus 9-2, both coming off a loss in the lightweight division. I'm leaning Costas here. Borjas only one fight in the UFC. I did think he took a loss to my guy Van. We did pick Van on that card. Or we put him in a parlay. I'm not sure if that was before we started recording videos. But I did pick Van there. Costa coming off a loss, but I have a little bit more impressive of a resume. Lost to Erceg via decision. He's fighting in the title fight. So I think he could call him out at the end of the day. That's what I'm kind of picturing here. That's why I'm going to go pick Costa. Lost to Albazi, no shame. Beat Fit Flick, definitely looking good on the records. That being said, I do expect Costa. Borjas, he didn't come. I think Costa by submission is what I would going to see happening. Would be like my ultimate picks predictions. I mean, Borjas could definitely come back stronger after a loss, but he did impress me, but didn't overwhelm me in what he could do against an opponent. And I think Costa is a step up from Van in terms of talent. So I definitely think they both have their ups and their downs in this fight. I don't think it will be completely clean for Costa, but I think at some point I would, I always like, right now I'm on this thing with second round finishes, so maybe a second round submission for Costa, where I'm leaning, get the mic, be pumped up for the Brazilian fans. They're going to be hyped for the Brazilians to get on the board there. I'm leaning there a lot, but not exclusively on this fight card. So Costa with the initial pick starting us off. Bam! Going into the lightweight division. Ishmael Bonfim versus Vic Pincial. 19-4 versus 14-3. 5'8" versus 5'10". Tell you what here, Bonfim is a big favorite coming against Vin, who hasn't been in the in activity in quite a while, both coming off a loss. We'll say about Bonfim, being a big favorite. His brother was just a big favorite recently and folded and faded in a fight that I'm not going to say they're the same person. I thought maybe I got him backwards, but I'm going to lean Bonfim here. I'm definitely taking him. There's a lot of gigantic favorites and a lot of big dogs. And I don't think I'm going to stray too much. Maybe once or twice. I do see one happening, at least one happening, maybe two. This is not the case. I think Bonfim is actually a certified gangster. Coming off the loss, was nothing too crazy looking back at it. Is Benoit Saint Denis. So, that guy's also built different too, but he came in on the January card in Brazil again. So I'm just going home matchup back in Brazil. Bonfim going to look good. Maybe not the submission that we might see. Maybe TKO again. But I think he lays it out on the line, throws the hands, and gets the finish. Definitely another rousing performance for the Brazilian fans. I think they got these matchmakers starting off strong on a big card. And this is actually, when I was going through and previewing this is actually super underrated card. There's a lot of fantastic fighters, and we could see a lot of big finishes. Definitely tune in. Definitely watch this one. It's going to be a cracker from the start, and it's a great fight night. Next, we have Diane Barbosa versus Ernesta Cacarate. A 1-0 debut versus debut, 5'6" versus 5'9", Brazilian versus Lithuanian coming into the UFC. There is a considerable difference in height and reach with Karakati, I think is actually how you pronounce her name. Barbosa coming in there looking strong. I think 6-2 overall record. Ernesta, what does she have? 5-0-1 with a draw, 3 knockouts. So I think the big difference is if Barbosa can get her hands on her and start grappling, what kind of fight are we going to see? She can take the damage and get in there, bite the mouthpiece, and I don't know what her takedown defense is like, Kara Katie. I do think I remember watching one of her fights because when you hear that name, you're just not gonna forget it in the fight game. Barbosa definitely thinking has a good chance to get in there and win by the judges' scorecard really dominating. But if she takes a lot of damage, can exchange on the feet. I'm really not gonna go too much against Brazil here, but I did initially say Kara Katie just because I like the length. But I do think Barbosa's wrestling will negate the damage, and if she can't be clean enough, if she can get in there with the elbows and the bows, I'm kind of thinking Barbosa makes this real scrappy in there. A lot of leg kicks, a lot of damage on the ground, really controlling the fight. If Kara Katie does manage to get up, the exchanges maybe not be so significant to warrant the win. I'm leaning Barbosa. I'm going to take Barbosa here. She is a little bit of a favorite. I think Kara Katie is like plus 200. So I am going there, starting off hard on the Brazilians and taking that into consideration. I think she might have a little bit more experience. You want to look into the age 25. We don't want to see anything, 31, a 3-inch advantage, 5 in arms, but 3 wins by sub, 3-fight win streak. So that's really her condition. And I think that will kind of dominate a lot today. Now I'm saying like overall, you know, I love strikers, but especially in the women's division, if you can generate the power to really damage the person and control them on the feet. But that way, but if Kara Katie can and has great takedown defense because of her extra length, it could be a long day for Barbosa, and I could be completely wrong on this. But I'm just gonna go lean Barbosa. I think they're not gonna be too ashamed to just want to get a win, especially at home. Get even split decision, but I'm going Barbosa here, definitely on the official picks here. Bang into the next one. We got Marsuchio. I messed that one up. Jamie Malarkey versus Mauricio Rufy. Debut coming off a loss here. Measurables looking pretty. The metrics looking pretty similar. 5'11", 6 foot 1 inch here, but got him in the hands. Malarkey coming in there. You know what Malarkey's gonna get you? Get you beat up, and he's gonna get beat up sometime. So that being said, I gotta go Ruffy here. There's no way this guy is gonna. I don't know. I mean, I want to pick Malarkey, like, right? He's got the experience. You can definitely pay in a way that, like, yeah, he's got some good wins, but he's got some good losses. He takes a lot of damage, and if that damage occurs, which I think will happen, because, like, you see it so much. Sometimes these guys on the losing that take losses and get beat up along the way just don't recover against these guys that are fresh making their debut. And I think Ruffy kind of like similar to Span versus Goosecoff. I think we kind of see something like Ruffy versus Malarkey in this first. Probably see the ref stop it maybe second round, let him get that timing down. Malarkey might throw everything he has on him. He's a tough son of a gun. He ain't just gonna go. Maybe even in the third round too. Like it could definitely make it to the scorecard either. I want to see Ruffy win. That's where I really think he does have the time. I think he's not afraid to go late in the fight and finish Malarkey late and do a lot of damage. I don't want to say he's going to be chewing with his food before he eats it, but I also think this is an opportunity to get some pretty decent at minus there. I don't really say a finish is definitely because, like you said, it's the lightweight coming down from 170. If they actually go 150 here, could be tougher weight cut for some of these guys. Malarkey does have the experience. He will have a little bit on the metrics. We should have a lot of confidence in this fight as somebody against their debut. So hopefully, Ruffy will be able to catch him, do the damage, and even steal a finish sometime in the third round. But I think he does a lot of damage. I'm pretty excited to see this matchup. And this is again one of the many just fights that I just think are well balanced, and there's just going to be a lot of exciting cage fighting. Next is a lightweight bout. Joaquim Silva versus Jakar Closa. 13-5 and 14-2 coming off a win. And man, this is another one that, like, man, you can. There's one thing that I think Joaquim Silva does. Okay, we'll just Silva 13-5, 7 wins by knockout, 3 by submission in the first round. Beat Guida, lost to Saruki, beat Rods, and knocked out Gordon. The guys has experience. Lost to Pichal on the card. Got a little bit of everything though. And Jakar Closa, more of a prospect. I think he has tremendous power for the leg. He stands 6 wins. negate it. And, I think he's able to negate and does with power to get finishes. What he did to Selecki, trying to, grapple with him. And I said in the lightweight division, extra, he's got like that Poirier power in a way. Got that, it looks big for 5, making the weight. So I really like to see him continue. Now, get the finish to not get the competition is fierce. But I'm picking closer to win over Silva because I think Silva, it might not be able to bring as much, right? Closer. And if Silva can't finish it, right, he has been knocked out a few times, KO some people. Overall, has not been time, and I think will take another step up. And I think he might call out Patty. I don't know. That's just kind of like my fan fiction going on as I make these picks. But I think Closer can get another nice win and really finish out the early prelims. Even just a solid win from the card, unanimous decision, even if it's 29-28, but I think it does look good. I think he looks strong and does a lot of damage. Bang, we're going into the main. It's not even the main event, dude. There's so many fights on this card. This thing is incredible. We got Gene Silva versus William Gomis, 12-2 versus 13-2. And the thing about this fight is the metrics. Going down to the featherweight division, I really want to pick Gene Silva here. He looks like an absolute killer. 75 wins by TKO. Not going, but I think that kind of plays into Gomis' favor. To go to the scorecard, he's got the length advantage. He's got kind of like that Izzy MVP kind of thing where he's going in and out, try and win. Now, until he takes a bunch of losses or some KO losses or some decision losses by guys doing a lot of damage to him, it's going to be hard for me to initially not pick Gomis here because I am a big fan of him. And I just think he looks so clean. I think he's got the length, the explosion, the speed. Not saying I haven't seen Gene Silva do it enough, but this would be a real test for him. I think this is one where I'm going to go against the Brazilian at home, the Lord. Even though the one time I did watch the Lord, I believe he finished with a knockout. It was pretty impressive. Wilson in January. Quick turnaround, 27 set, but like the metrics on him, he's going to have to get inside and do the damage. Now, am I ballsy enough to pick that he's going to do that? Honestly, I should be starting to think that I might transition to that. If this might be one of the make or break fights because like once I see it 3 times, right? Like 3 significant times. We saw Perez beat Nicolau. Okay, that's one like this. You want to see that. I saw Erceg beat Feely. Okay, there we go. There's another one like that. If the Lord can beat Gomi, who's not opposed to, I mean, I don't think Gomi's competition has been anything that is even like the Lord. And that's why I think he might end up getting it in split decision. I think this fight is very close. As the odds indicate, I'm picking Gomi here just because of his fight style versus this. And till he gets knocked out significantly by somebody like this, I'm just gonna lean and pick his way in the official videos. Right, this could be a learning experience. This could be something that I see later in the fight week, even as they're walking into the arena. Where I'm like, oh, Silva's gonna beat this guy, right? Like, so there is that gap that I have in recording these videos until the guys walk out. Right, they still have to weigh in. They still have to walk out to the arena. Right, they acclimatize themselves to the situation. So there is always that as I make these picks until it officially goes. So I don't know how I can streamline and connect that a little bit better, but we're going Gomis here over Silva, but that could change come fight night as we see them walk out, as we see the weigh-in, if Silva comes in a pound and a half over. There are things that happen throughout the course of the fight week that we will always take into consideration after our picks, but just with those metrics, I'm going Gomis here. Get it done. Next, we have Elvis Bloody Brenner versus Ora Blai, and 16-3 versus 12-1-1. Brazil versus Kazakhstan, and Brenner is a beast, man. I don't like picking against him, but I think there's a reason why Ora Blai is a big beast because I think he is kind of built different, right? Like some of these guys that come over there, and Brenner is just not the come down to it. He does get the job quite a bit. Take some damage. Hard to pick again. Definitely one of his competition jumps that he has. This guy's finishing meaty. Oh, that one part of it is actually just destruction. So death and destruction. I'm picking Oroblai. I'm not gonna keep it complicated. I just think Brenner they do get exchanges. They do take it back and forth. I don't think this is a early stoppage or anything like that. I think there's going to be some blood on the matches because that's how Brenner operates. And this guy Aura Blyes is going to be very clean with it. That's going to be my pick. I want to pick Brenner. I'm a big fan. I think I picked against him or bet against him even in one of those times. And if he wins now, I'll learn my lesson and never doubt him again. He could if he knocks this guy out, he could qualify for the killer squad. He's that close. Like he's definitely like he's on the scouting report. There's another guy if he can manage one this weekend will be on the killer squad. We'll talk about him here in a little bit. The co-main event. I'm not talking about Aldo, but I'm gonna go pick Orably here. I think you'll just see him get it done. I think he's just a really good presence in the octagon and something that Brenner might not be able to handle him as he handles the other guys that he has beaten versus especially in the lightweight division. It's one thing to, when the metrics are in your favor or, you might have a speed or strength advantage, but I think Orably is one of those guys that's going to be, if you fucking finish Medic, you're going to be a big time. That was at welterweight too, I guess, so he's going to be coming down a little bit. So Brenner's speed could be a factor, but, let's see how that happens. Bang! Next, women's strawweight, Carolina Kowalski versus Isman Lucindo, 16-7, coming off a win versus 15-5, coming off a win. And I don't really got much to say in the breakdown here. You can look at anything that you want. I'm not going to pick Carolina Kowalski. I just don't think she has it at this point in her career. I think she's, definitely long in the tooth. Definitely has some great fights behind her and great fights in front of her. I know she's a fan favorite. I know a lot of people that do watch this are not going to be happy to hear that, but Yasmin Lucindo, it just looks like a killer, man. It looks like she's going to be and get the job done however she wants to. I think she's going to have a little bit more of a spring chicken in her, and I think she's going to have more of a live dog. The older and older she gets, I just think there's not going to. I don't want to even break it down too much because I think Carolina will keep it on the feet, but I just think she will assimilate some damage. Not saying that she will get finished in submission, but she will get grappled. I think just her propensity to play the long game and fight not going to be to her advantage against Lucindo. So unless she gets caught and gets finished early with like some knee or a spinning back fist from Kowalski, I've got Lucindo all day, and I'm not even going to try and think too much about it. We'll move on to some more exciting fights, and we'll let that one play out, and if it shocks us, then it shocks us, right? Like, that's how a lot of times I think. It's like sometimes I have to make people put the L on my record, like somebody like Malarkey, I'm going to pick against somebody else. Or like, I definitely sometimes pick frivolously just based on the fan favoritism in this, just because like I'm picking so early versus like what I actually might bet. I'm hoping to learn something in there. But we'll move on from there. Looking on to the feature prelim on the middle fight. Jack Shore versus Jordison Brito, 17-1 versus 16-3. And boy, this is one to really get you excited, to really get the blood flowing. Very close matchup. We got Shore at plus 120 versus Brito at minus 142. I think a lot of that has to come from being inside of the state of Brazil. The country, excuse me. But again, both balanced guys, TKO, submissions, decisions, matchup status, both guys, high win record, high finish percentage. What can you say about this? You're trying to look at something. Lost to Ricky Simon, doesn't look out there. Some unanimous decisions. As I'm trying to really pick this one out of the blue here, looking like Jack Shore does have a lot of potential, a lot of live ability, and Brito, he's been an absolute tear, man. 7 knockouts, 7 submissions. I don't think this one finishes early at all. I think this one goes late, but you looking at Pierce, Wilson, Alexander, Feely, lost to Aguilo a long time ago. That's a nice run there against some really tough opponents. Maybe not all at the cream of the crop competition like Shore is, but man, this one is going to be a cracker back and forth. I'm actually, as I go through this, I think I'm going to go against my train here. I'm going to pick Jack Shore. I'm hoping I'm probably going to look stupid on this one, and Brito comes out strong, looking like an absolute killer, finishing my guy Jack Shore. But something about this one screams when it's closer, don't always just favor the guy at home, right? Like, I think in the odds are probably saying that, and I don't want to look at that. And I just think I'm going to try and pick Shore to fight really cleanly, fight really clean boxing, fight big combinations, fight a lot of damage, fight through some kicks, fight through a very clean fight. And That's where I'm gonna go. I think this one has an absolute cracker. We could see either one of these guys asleep at the end of the fight, but early, in the middle, or at the end, depending on what could happen. But I'm gonna go do a little personal reversal. Not too big of a pick. I'm gonna go pick Shore instead of Brito there. I want to see Brito do it against somebody that's actually significant, and Shore, has had opportunities, and I think this is another one where it probably goes to the decision, goes to the scorecard, and I think this is where we see Shore kind of maybe assimilate himself as a complete fighter and call somebody up in the ranks and look to get somebody in the featherweight division. So I'm definitely picking Shore there. Again, as it comes out, this might be a change to Brito on the betting cards for me personally. Join the Discord, leave some comments. Let me know what you guys think about any of these fights there. Moving on to the main card, Paulie Kragers versus Cal Baralho, 17-7 versus 15-1, 6'3" versus 5'10". And one thing I will have to say this here, this might be the big dog that I picked today. I think I'm going to pick Paul Kragers here over Kai Baralho. Not saying that they both can't do it. Not saying Baralho isn't a beast, but Paul Craig finally coming down to 185. Not looking as good as he can, but that being said, his competition has been extremely fierce, and he has some crazy wins on his record. And I think tonight will be the night that he gets one against Baralho. Something about Baralho makes me think that he's going to fight somebody that's eventually bigger, stronger, and can compete with him. And I'm not saying Craig can't get finished, because to me, if this is a wrong pick from me, and I don't even think it's that bad, but to me, Craig will be on like that Tuivasa train where he just can't find a win. And we can't have him not finding a win at some point in his career. And he has had major victories in there, and I think the move down, I think this is one that we can see him catch him even with like a triangle or something in his legs off a guard. I know Baralho's a submission guy. He gets to finish, right? But he also gets decisions. Craig, if he can get the finish, might be the thing that actually happens. I'm thinking there might be a big opportunity for him to really turn his career around against somebody like Baralho. Not saying that he's invincible. I mean, 15-1 is looking good. This should be an automatic, minus 500 pick. But I think at least one of them, and I think that this is the one. This is the one that I'm picking at least. I could be wrong, right? I'm like, hey, Paulie, Paulie from The Sopranos. Hey, I could be wrong there, but I'm actually gonna pick Paul Craig here for the official picks. Don't doubt it. Baralho is definitely a great prospect, amazing fighter, and I can't wait to see this one. Like I said, in this middle pack of the card is absolutely stacked. We're sleeping on 301. People think they're not. The headline might not be there, but dude, there's a lot of great fights on there. Especially look at this one right after it. Bang! We're gonna have Michael Pereira versus Ihor Pantoja. Another one of those big favorites versus big dogs. I like Pantoja a lot, but he is coming in on kind of a short camp in a way. They have the odds pretty significant as well. We got 20-5 versus what was that, 29-11 in the middleweight division. Pantoja was a former light heavyweight where some of his losses did occur. Coming down to middleweight, Pereira has been a certified killer. We have the odds at minus 535 for Pereira and plus 400 for Pantoja. I think a lot of that has to do with the close camp. I think this one will be a lot closer than the odds say. But at that being said, I think I will pick Pereira here, go back onto the Brazil train a little bit. I'm a big fan of Pantoja, and I think this will be a great fight for him to show what he's able to do inside the octagon. And as long as he's not opposed to, because I think once these guys actually figure out where they land in terms of the competition, who they can compete against, losses are not always a bad thing. And I think this one might be the situation for Pantoja. Dude, he might go toe to toe. Pereira's gonna be like, that guy's a tough son of a gun. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? I think I see something like that. Not necessarily a finish, but I like Pereira a lot, dude. He looks explosive in the octagon. I'm not gonna go against him. Pantoja just fought recently, right? He had a win against the Bryce check, unanimous decision, not more than 2 months ago. So coming in there, but a couple losses to bigger guys, KOs. So maybe not enough time to recover, and a step up in competition in the middleweight division as well. So that's why I think Pereira is definitely the pick here for me on the channel. Pantoja, again, one of those live dogs, the duelist, can knock him out. Not too many blemishes on the record, but also not the level of experience that Pereira has had just over the course of time. I mean, they both subbed this, or, this guy's been subbed a bunch, but, Petrovsky's nothing. But Ponzinibbio's a nice win. Filio, like, he's on an absolute tear. Pereira is just one of those guys. He's a certified cage warrior, and I'm just going to pick him tonight. Bang! Next, we got Lionheart Anthony Smith versus Victor Petrino, 37-19 versus 11-0, 6'4" versus 6'2". Anthony Lionheart Smith coming off a loss recently at a Roundtree nasty KO. Did get the split decision win over Dogwater Span from last week, and it's going to be hard to pick Anthony Smith here. I got Petrino all day. Looks like a live prospect. You could probably even bet the finish because he looks like he could do it. Probably should do it and wants to do it. I'm not going to make too much of this. I love Anthony Smith as a person, and I really hope he just keeps his brain healthy and is able to do his commentary career, because I really don't want to see him in the octagon too many more times getting beat up. I really hope Petrino doesn't do it. I hope Anthony Smith comes to my house and shuts me up after he hears this. Imagine if that was one day. Hey, Welsh, I heard you. Shut the beep up. I'm coming to your house. Coming for you, not your family. But I think Petrino is definitely just a class prospect, and I think he's got an opportunity to get a nice finish. I really hope the best for Anthony Smith, and I really hope it's a nice long fight, a grueling one. This is nothing personal against it. This is just a fight game, right? The belt belongs to no one. This is just the way that especially combat competition works in my just picking brain as I record these videos. These are nothing personal against these people. I only wish them the best for them and their families and their team. I draw inspiration from all of them, and I wish nothing but the best from them. I'm taking Petrino. Hopefully not too bad of a KO, because Roundtree had me scared the other time. All right, bang! Into the bantamweight bout, the co-main event of the evening. Jonathan Martinez, 19-4 versus Jose, King of Rio, Aldo, 31-8, coming a loss to Merab Dvalishvili. I think he also had a loss to somebody else in there, but beat Font, beat Munoz, and man, I really want to pick. So this is a make or break fight for my guy too. Jonathan Martinez can join the Death Bomber squad, right? The Lopes, those kind of guys, if he gets a KO win over Aldo here. I am actually going, man, I really want to pick Aldo here. I don't know. What are you supposed to do? I think Aldo has the speed to really compete. Leg kicks back and forth. Jonathan Martinez definitely can go back and forth. I can't imagine it going to the scorecard and not being Jose Aldo's name being read off, especially like if it's a highly competitive fight, which I do think it is. So that's why I put the emphasis on Martinez can join the bomb squad. Like if he can go in there and get a finish on somebody like Jose Aldo at a co-main event and somebody making his return, like he could really put a damper on a lot of things Jose had in mind, boxing wise. So I could definitely see Jose playing very conservative. I think he has a new opportunity to be a really good chance to win this fight. I want to see Jonathan Martinez go win this. So that will be kind of like, I want Jonathan to put this L on my record, right? I'm picking Jose Aldo because I probably think it goes to the scorecard and it gets to the decision, but I want to put the emphasis on Martinez to go out there and get the finish, really put the emphasis on somebody that is actually world-class title contender, because I am a big fan of Martinez. I think he's a class act cage fighter, and he's growing into somebody that's going to be very impressive in the division, and I think this is his opportunity to really stand there. Like I said, this might be a different one that I bet as you go in there looking at all the possibilities of him getting the finish. I think he's actually a really big threat in the bantamweight division. This division has so many absolute killers in it, and I think the onus is going to be on him to get the win, to share the octagon with Aldo, and this is one that I'm really back and forth on. I may bet Martinez, but official picks, I'm just gonna pick Aldo because I can just, I'm gonna pick it going to the decision. If I'm blatantly wrong, like I'm expressing that I think Martinez could be joining one of those guys that I talk about moving forward. He's ranked 12 in the bantamweight division. It's not like he's already being slept on. He's got a lot of nice finishes on his record, beating a lot of young prospects along the way. So can he get that veteran notch on his belt? Or is this another one where, to me, it's more contender versus prospect? Jose Aldo is elite contender. He's really not that old. He's only 37 years old. There's guys that hold the belt that are a little bit older. Pereira's that age. So speed could be a factor if Martinez has the speed edge. Aldo, let's see what he can do. I'm kind of worried about it now. I might do the reverse of Rooney. Oh, man. I need a Jeopardy timeout. Somebody cue the music. Do, 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 do. All right, yeah, I'm sticking with Aldo there. He's been against guys like Martinez. Martinez has not been with a guy like Aldo. Sticking with Aldo there. Bang! On to the main event of the evening. Alexandre Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. 27-5 versus 12-1 with the flyweight title on the line there. I tell you what there, I think Pantoja might have a little bit of trouble here. I think Pantoja struggled with his wind against somebody like Moreno in his last fight. He definitely and Roval like faded down the stretch. I think the size definitely was a factor on him. I don't know if I can't say he's in the best shape. It's going to be hard to pick against Pantoja, but I think Erceg has a really good chance to surprise us and maybe be one of those one-time wonders to hold the belt here. I'm thinking we might be see something shocking like that, and as I'm leaning towards it, that's might be something that, man, I kind of want to pick to happen, right? Prediction previews and picks, right? Like, it's one of those things that I definitely could see him happening, especially if Pantoja, like how world class is his grappling, and how much grappling has Erceg been on there, because I don't want to look like a fool, pick Erceg, and then fucking Pantoja just lay on him for 5 rounds. Oh, effective grappling really wins. So, that's why I think the official pick is going to be Pantoja, but I mean, Erceg's got a lot of opportunity. He's got a lot of power, and he could really shut a lot of people up if he gets a win and holds this belt in the flyweight division. This could be one of those surprise things, maybe more like a DDP versus Strickland. Like, I think that Pantoja is way more talented than Strickland as a certified cage fighter. Even pound per pound, like, I think he's such a good wrestler, has such good submissions that it could provide Erceg a problem, and that's why I think the official pick will be Pantoja. But I can't wait to see when you hear in Buffer come alive, you're gonna see them pan to Pantoja, pan to Erceg, and you're gonna realize these guys are about to fucking brawl. Excuse my language there but it's gonna be it's 12 after dark at that point, ladies and gentlemen, and we're gonna be locked in and ready to go. And I think Pantoja at that moment will be better. As much as we want to paint Erceg having the opportunities to have a moment, I think that he had the moment to get here, to get the opportunity. Now, will he be able to do it in the finals? I hope so. I want to see it happen. I want to see Pantoja go down, but I'm picking Pantoja. He's kind of my guy. He's a certified dog, dude. He's a family man, a certified champion, and I think he's going to represent the featherweight. The lighter belt guys don't change hands too much, right? There's not too many shocks in all moments. They tend to be very class at this, at this lighter weight to get up to the gold championship belt. Erceg looks like he might have jumped the line in some people's opinions, and I think we could see that play out in terms of his complete MMA game. And I think Pantoja can hold with him, but who maybe he tries to get in there and gets knocked out. Knee, elbow, something crazy from Erceg is definitely a possibility, but going to pick Pantoja there. Let's do a big recap as we wind down the UFC 301 picks page. We're going to start off with Costa here. We got Bone Fiend. We're taking Barbosa and Ruffy, starting off Brazil strong, but then flipping over to Costa and Gomes official picks, Ora Bly. We got Lucindo bringing it back to the Brazilians, and we're going with the Jack Shore pick. We're taking Jack Shore on a complete performance. Paulie Craig, Michael Pereira, Victor Petrino, Jose Aldo, and still champion Alexandre Pantoja. Again, the $100 challenge. Comment all the winners in the comment section. If you get them all right, I will give you $100. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel and like the video, please. Any feedback is much appreciated. Thank you guys so much. Peace and love, everybody. We'll see you Saturday night. UFC 301. It's time.